Welcome back! Oh, you want to do it afterwards? Okay.
I enjoy both these guys' content, but I can't help but get the vibe they sleep together on the side. Says MNN. I'm not going to do that.
That was a legit comment. We got a lot of comments on the last video that people thought we were either gay and or sleeping together,
Yep.
or that one of us was gay, or that both of us had slept together. We've never been in a tent together.
There's still time.
How's that where you put your mic?
Oh my god.
Come here, you. Let me put that on.
Oh yeah, this is helping.
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
shaking. I'm nervous.
Really helping the allegation.
Nervous,
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, you're a failed actor, so I suppose.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're here to talk. If there was a team to win the Premier League next season, which team comes to your mind?
Oh, Man City look good at the minute, don't they?
Is that ironic?
Slightly.
Okay.
I'm not as worried about them. I am worried about you guys. I also saw some Isak rumours, and they're genuine, which
They're gaining
yeah.
traction.
Which obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I wanted to immediately brush off and go, ha, never. Because if he was gonna leave, he'd come to us. Of course he would.
But you're getting Šeško and Rodrigo and
Eze.
And
everyone.
No, but you'll rebuild, or you're not doing a rebuild. What are you doing? What stage are you in?
Phase, whatever it is.
No, genuinely.
I don't know. I mean, if we're being serious about the phases thing, which gets mocked, I think we're still in phase 4.
What?
Yeah. Because he's never put it on a document on Arsenal.com, little PDF we can all
should have.
We can all download.
Well, here it says he's meant to be buying Rodrigo by now.
But I think from what he said we're in phase 3 in December of 2022. He said we're getting close to phase 4 at some point last year. So I think we're probably in about phase 4.
Last year?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not entering phase 5?
I don't know, Lawrence. What do you think about that, genuinely, as a rival fan who makes videos on us all the time?
No, so I actually think it's quite smart. First of all, to put down a roadmap that you can then follow, because I think a lot of the time people just assume that managers and clubs and everyone else involved with those managers and clubs goes, lads, I've been thinking, I think we should get Zubimendi. And everyone goes, no way, that's a great idea. We should definitely try that this summer.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You tried that, didn't you?
Yeah, we did try that. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
The money we didn't spend on him, we spent on Florian Wirtz. So
I'm not going
chill
there.
your beans.
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
We've discussed that enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think outside of kind of football banter and YouTube and rivals going at each other, I do think it's which you wouldn't know about. I do think it's a good idea as a business to lay out
I started that.
What, football?
Football banter.
Okay, that was all you.
I made that mainstream. I think actually, if anything, I can be credited for the downfall of the football banter.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because when I enter the room and I go, hey, everyone goes, no, not that one.
No, you're all right.
That's all right.
In small quantities.
No, so talk to me. I personally think any insight from a manager, especially if it doesn't have, if it's open-ended, is almost brilliant, because then everyone feels like they have structure. They can speculate on where the structure is, but ultimately there isn't something to hold them to.
Yeah. Well, you feel like you have some KPIs, which every business needs. Everyone who's got a job has things to meet. So
he never said phase 4 is us winning the league. He never said phase 5 is us winning the Champions League. He just said we're in phase 3.
But for example, if Slot came in and said publicly, I'm in phase, would you like that as a fan?
Do you know the other thing I think? I think it depends on how familiar you are with the manager and how much attention that one thing gets at that time. He could have dropped that in a press conference and it never been brought up again. Because one journalist went, well, that's not that interesting. They're in phase 3. All right, who cares?
Yeah.
It's kind of then what people then focus on. And really, it was that I think the focus from me is not what phase he's in, but how people keep him as answerable to what his job is.
Yeah.
And what they do is they use the phase thing to bring up, is he fulfilling our expectations? And ultimately, the answer last season was, I think Arsenal finished below expectation.
100%.
I'm not saying why, but I think the expectation was to win the league.
Yeah.
And you finished below that.
Yeah.
And phasing, I don't know if phasing factors in injuries.
No, it won't do.
Or red cards.
I guess phasing is targets, but it doesn't factor in the reasons why you didn't meet them. It's just you did or you didn't. But weirdly, that's kind of where Arsenal are. We are at a phase where it sort of doesn't matter to some degree what happens next season.
What?
For a lot of people, I'm not saying for me. For a lot of people, I think they are literally, and some people were last year, but I would say I would go 50% of the fan base. I reckon are like, just whatever happens, he's got to win. I don't care what happens.
Okay, right. So sorry, I thought you meant the other way, where if he doesn't win, still all good.
No. I think it's about there.
Do you know?
I could be wrong.
So Berta came in, right?
Andrea
Berta. I remember you did the video just over there, right?
Yep.
I think that was good. I guess the worry for me is that if things go badly for Arsenal next year, that he'll become the default, and then it'll be like, well, what about we move on Arteta, we keep Berta, and we get a new manager who can work with him to do that. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I guess I have my concerns around if next season doesn't go the way that Arteta would like. I don't know. I feel as a player, as an ex-manager, I would go, all right, I think we've tried a lot here.
Yes, I think so. Also, Berta is currying a lot of favour with how he's approaching the market, which isn't. I've sort of got an analogy that like Edu was like a sniper and Berta is like an assault rifle. And when it worked for Edu, when he had a long-term target and waited
Headshot.
pulled the trigger, headshot, Declan Rice or Ødegaard.
Good, by the way.
Ødegaard for £30 million. Berta is speaking supposedly to everyone, but from a fan perspective, which is ultimately what we are, fans. From a fan perspective, it looks more fun. And so I think a lot of people go, which it doesn't actually, for me, the most important part is the outcome. It's how is my squad looking at the end of a window? I don't care who you've spoken to, it's what you do in the end, right? But I think a lot of people will, what I'm saying is I think Berta will grow in, we really like this guy because he's generating a lot of links, basically.
Which is great for content.
Well, yeah, but for the fan to go, look, we're active finally, and now it's,
So it feels more active, even though it was probably very active before.
Even though the outcome is the most important part every time, that's.
So it's a genuine question, and I mean this in the best way, right? What do you think the construction of the team is beginning to feel a little bit dated or a little bit tired? And I don't necessarily believe that, because I think a lot of your injuries last season led to the team not feeling as fresh as it could.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will look at the formation you currently play and go, that does need maybe Eze or Rodrigo in it to make it feel like it can attack where the current formations need to be attacked, if that makes sense.
It's all contextual, I think, ultimately. And, like Nottingham Forest last season look like they're really innovative because they're doing something slightly different and it's working.
Do you think they looked innovative? Or do you think they just looked... I don't think... I'm not...
By the table, yeah. Like they considering, I think it was the highest points jump ever or something like that from one team to the, or something like that.
But that's not the same as being...
But it's... My point is it's contextual. And I think we've built a team and a squad that was basically trying to win the league against Man City.
Okay.
But if you're not trying to do that, I think there's a different thing. I think.
Sorry, what were you? So what would change if you're not trying to win the league against City? It's basically that you are then just trying to win the league, aren't you? So
yeah, but I think certainly in my mind, and I suspect the reference at Arsenal in that rebuild period.
Yeah.
I suspect Man City was in a lot of conversations. How do we build our squad with this? With our resources, or whatever.
Okay, right.
But I think conceptually, like for example, what's changing now? I mean, we're seeing usage of the fullbacks for you guys and for City and stuff. Ultimately, if that works and we don't go that way and we don't start running as much as other teams, we will look sort of stale. But if it does work, it will look like, oh, genius, Mikel's been. It's just contextual. It's only contextual. So I go back to us and I go, what do I feel we miss? And we'll come back to the Eze thing. Eze is a player who he's one of the only players in the league, really. And I'd love to know who you think else could go on this list. I can pause a game with Eze, and I could give you 4 things I think are about to happen, and he'll do a 5th.
Okay.
And that is what Arsenal need, especially at 27 as well, because he's not going to come in.
It's not to develop. It's to hit the ground.
This is who he is.
If you bought Eze or Rodrigo, and to be fair, I think also Šeško, which shows kind of where your team's at and what the expectation is.
Yeah.
I think it would be a win now sale.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think there are a few other names that jump out to me. So maybe Bernardo Silva when he was Bernardo Silva.
Coming from Monaco kind of vibes.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's kind of got a bit of an unpredictable element to him. I think Florian Wirtz, you could make the argument there is like we maybe because we've not seen him play, so we don't know where he's going to play the ball. City definitely have like quite a few of those options. Could you say Cherky now?
Yeah.
And
I guess
Foden. Although I know what Foden's going to do, but I know what Foden's going to do on the wing. I don't know what he's going to do inside.
Yeah. Maybe
So-
Foden's up there.
Foden's there. I think Manchester United with Cunha, you can make that argument now. Although you probably actually know what Cunha's going to do. I think if they were to get, I don't know, we won't talk about United. That's not even worth it.
But there's also knowing what they're going to do and then being able to execute something effective. And that's
Cole Palmer
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
player. But basically, I don't think Arsenal have had that player. And I think even
was no, Odegaard was not that, but they thought he. But we as fans thought he was, but he actually wasn't meant to do that, was he?
no, I think Odegaard is like the archetypal. It's not to say he can't pull out moments, but he is incredible when he's working with White and Saka around him in that season. He's doing the same thing. He's having the same sort of types of combinations. You're seeing the patterns, but it's effective.
Okay.
But I think it's ultimately someone who can break the game model a little bit. I think most Arsenal fans would say, like, be honest with me. If you're an Arsenal fan watching,
Just be honest.
just be honest. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy watching Arsenal back end of last season?
The answer is no.
I didn't. Like, I have to be honest, I just didn't enjoy it. And it isn't just the injuries. I'm sorry, it's not just the injuries. There's a staleness to the way we are. Now,
Can I ask the question? Is that also because he knows where he's going to go next, but he goes, well, why try and change this to such a degree towards the end of the season, exhaust the players, get them like almost disenfranchised from what I'm doing because it's not quite working, we are trying to bring in new things? Or do we just try and get through to the end of the season with what we're doing right now, and then at the start of next go this, and this? I do think managers do think about staggering tactics and when they bring in new things, because I could see the relaxation with which Liverpool were playing after they won the league, and how essentially Slot went, well, we've now got nothing to lose, so we might as well, why doesn't Andy Robertson push on and just see what happens? You don't have to get back because the next player we have is going to do that. Trent, whatever, don't even play. Who cares? Who cares? You're off. We know.
on Duolingo.
Yeah. It's Trent. If he was at the side of the pitch, that's particularly bad. But I think that you can see that, and you can kind of see that with Pep in this tournament in the States, where Pep Lingers has sort of got his fingers all over it, and Pep had begun to do his little tweaks. You could see they were changing things very actively.
For sure.
I think you'll come back and people are going to go, what?
I think so. There will be a slew of people like me going, how Arsenal have revolutionised themselves, whatever.
But that's why I asked the question about the staleness.
I think it would have changed anyway, but I think having someone like an Eze to almost like symbolise that, and a Rodrigo, someone would be really useful.
Eze is such a statement, by the way.
It's such a statement, especially as an ex-Arsenal player.
But if you were to buy any two of those three, it would probably be Rodrigo, and although Eze and Šeško would actually be such a good combo.
And it kind of mirrors the Eze Mateta thing, which has really worked.
Is there also an argument that if you have Eze on that side, arguably a more creative outlet, it could get something different out of Martinelli? Or are you just giving up on Project Martin?
No. If he was if Mikel played as purely as a left central midfielder, I can't see how that works because you've just signed another 6. So where's Declan Rice going to play? You're playing Zubimendi and Rice.
Well, so right, okay.
do you know
So
what I mean?
your assumption is Zubimendi.
So either you move Rice
one's
or
give and go, and then the other one just moves forward. Okay.
I don't know.
So he has to be a left-sided. He has to be a bit of a. So basically, what we've identified is the key position this season is that left inside forward who roams, starts out wide, and comes inside or activates something from out wide.
Yeah.
Wirtz, Eze.
Yeah.
Even Cunha could make the argument that he starts out wide and comes inside.
Yeah.
Diaz, Liverpool.
Yeah. I think to go back to the point about changing, whatever it is, something's going to change. And I think it would have happened anyway. And I think
You've really covered yourself there.
There's a thing with something's going to change. Thank you, guys. Great insight.
And that was the video.
That was a different arc. But I think the point about Arteta, within seasons, he rarely changes. And this is a thing that a frustration for me. Within season, he won't change the game model. But with sort of between seasons, he'll move Zinchenko inside, or he'll change the pivot, or he'll change how we play with our forwards, or whatever. He'll do quite significant changes. So I think you're right about that. But last season, there was a frustration that we were basically still trying to play the same way without as good assets.
Right. Genuine question then.
Genuine.
We had our first video we ever did was titled Mikel Arteta is a genius or something to that.
Is Mikel a genius?
Is Mikel? Yeah, it was posed as a question, but we knew the answer,
Yeah.
right? Has your estimation of him improved, remained the same, or decreased since?
I think the newness is slightly worn off. I still do think, in the same way that, by the way, I think like Arne Slot's a genius. Like, I'm not.
So you've got to be a genius to be a football manager, what you're saying.
If you're a top 5 football manager in the world,
Slot.
whether you put Arteta in there is up to you. But
I think
I'd say
Arteta's
top
in
10,
that category,
15. If you're like, just think about how many people watch football. Billions. Think how many people get to play football, then get to manage, like that. You are the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. So if you're going to call anyone a genius, was it one person, Pep? No, there's got to be people. And I think genius is the ability to see things before they happen. And how you listen to so many interviews where players say, Mikel will literally be like, this is going to happen, and you go out there and it happens. Now, is that a problem, and can he solve it? That's another aspect of things. But I think...
Is that also good? Is it good that managers... Does that say something bad about the game, that you can predict the game so much?
Maybe it's too robotic. I don't know. But my point being that, like, I think I remember in that video. I don't think I called him a genius. I think I said he had genius, which was so me of that era.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's me of that era.
Yeah.
But it's like he understands the space very well, because how could you elevate a team like that consistently without understanding what you're stepping into? The question is how you get over the line, and that's a different position.
I think you've nailed. You bought a second goalkeeper, and that's what's going to get you over the line this season.
It's going to happen.
He's here to raise the levels.
Finally.
What is it with the money laundering that you and Chelsea do?
Why are you so annoyed about the thing about on social media, the way we said raise the levels?
Okay, I don't... So say now Mamardashvili came in as Liverpool goalkeeper. We posting he's here to raise the levels when Alisson is our number 1 goalkeeper makes me think the levels aren't high enough.
Why does that annoy you, Lawrence?
Because I think you should be coming in... I mean, first of all, I don't think you should be that bombastic about a second goalkeeper.
Caption on social media.
It's a caption on social media that portrays your entire club's mentality. that I just think it's poorly... I think the copy could be better. And I think there...
Such a you-take.
No, it's true, though. You can't post about a second goalkeeper coming in. Maybe if he's in to raise the goalkeeper's second levels, sure. But he's coming in as Kepa, who started almost every Premier League game last season for Bournemouth and was rated very highly.
Yeah, did all right.
Okay. Change the caption.
You guys watch Lawrence every week, every day. You know that. What a Lawrence
5
take.
of you.
What a Lawrence take.
No, it's true, though, isn't it? It's true. Say it. That's not the right caption.
it's not
and
the right
it portrays
caption. I'm
a
sorry.
poor image.
I'm sorry. It really matters.
What you say on social media matters. Believe me. Right.
Are you going to quiz me on my...
No, I actually think most of these are right. So we've covered World Cup. So a few weeks ago, you made a graphic.
Actually.
Will made the graphic. You made the sentiment, right? And it had lines at the side, and it said priority, right? And was this 1 to 8? And 8 was the 8th priority?
Was the lowest
was
priority,
Okay,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is ordered.
Yes.
Number 1, world-class forward.
Yeah.
I agree. I've been saying that for a while. Fine. Number 2, Zubimendi. Essentially, I agree, because I think when they say Zubimendi, they mean we'll also move on the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And specifically, one of our massive issues last season was tempo. And Zubimendi is one of the best in the world, in my opinion, at dealing with tempo.
I agree with that. Either dealing with the opposition tempo or your own tempo.
Yeah.
And upping and downing that knob.
Yeah.
There's the tension for you. Another forward. You've been very broad there, my love.
Well, I've put...
Yeah? If it's up there, I'll give you the money myself.
I'll put forward for both because...
Right.
Are you going to put this on the screen? Or we're just going to...
I'm just going to hold it and we're going to read it.
Yeah. I put forward because I don't
edit these.
I don't mind whether it's... I genuinely don't mind if it's a centre forward,
fair play,
and a left winger. I just said forward.
Okay. But broadly, you're basically saying we think Martinelli needs to move on, or we will need some backup in that position that isn't Trossard. Is Eze one of those? Or is Eze that?
No, Eze would have been probably the creative midfielder.
Oh, that is interesting.
I would say,
but he covers now both.
Yep, covers both.
So if he was to come in, he could be
potentially the other forward and the creative midfielder.
So I do like that.
But I when I was splitting them up, I thought people will say, well, Arsenal have a creativity issue. Why wouldn't there be a creative midfielder? Let me cook. I think a lot of it is about tempo. A lot of it is about the finishers and the runners and like the stuff. It's not the individual issues. It's a systemic issue with us, which I think can be fixed elsewhere before spending. But because basically to get the creative midfielder everyone would want, you need to spend £80 million. And if that is,
And even then, that's overspend.
and it's a huge overspend. I'm not going there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's why I put it down the list. But if they want to put it up, great.
Another 6 or 8.
Yep,
Can we name your midfield at the moment? So is Thomas Partey still in play?
he's gone.
Right. So and you're not thinking, well, maybe we could re-sign him. Right. Rice.
Yes, he's good.
Odegaard counts as a midfielder. Am I wrong?
Should we do pivot players or creative players?
Sure. 2 pivots first.
Okay.
Rice.
Marino,
Marino.
Norgard.
I've since found out that Jorginho plays for a South American club now. Miles Lewis Skelly,
Yep.
technically in there, right?
Technically, yeah.
Those would be the 4 that I'd say would cover that position. Is there any?
Did we say Zubimendi?
Zubimendi I didn't put in that list because I was thinking of a 5th additional guy. There's a lot of pivots.
It is.
Rice goes forward.
My only issue with Norgard, which I like it as a signing, my only issue with Norgard is the one thing I wanted from that position was proper legs. And people will say, yeah, but Norgard ran the 17th most in the league last season. I'm not talking about total distance. It's that athletic capacity. Rice can get himself going and like charge at you in a way that like it's top 1%. I'm not expecting that plus all his other qualities.
You have to say 99th percentile.
Sorry. But I would have loved someone like just take that quality out of Baleba or take that quality out of someone else. So
Baleba's overspend. Whoever buys him.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that is a bit like Baleba that comes from Monaco or such.
Bouadi, is he?
I think so.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about it. Yeah, but I wanted legs, so I have to be fair. And I think Norgard can run, but is he like right up there? But equally, he's not got loads of minutes in the tank. I think he's only played like 300 pro appearances, so it's not crazy. He started quite late.
It's quite fresh.
He's a captain. He's really cheap for what he is. I think he's a brilliantly progressive midfielder. He does a lot of stuff. Also, the issue that I'm worried about is central transitions without Declan Rice. I think he was like 8th in the league for interceptions last year, so he solves it in a slightly more thinky way.
So he was the one that worried me the most when you signed him, if that made sense, because he looked very much like he looks like a stats guy's dream, but weirdly he also passes the eye test.
Yeah, I've sort of likened him to Xhaka a little bit. I think we've missed that.
Right, you have, and that's right.
Like a deeper right-footed Xhaka.
Which is kind of interesting because Granit Xhaka was bought to be part of a system that I feel now is becoming quite prominent in football under Xabi Alonso. Not for you, for Xabi. Yeah. Remember, they took him to Bayer, and then they built around him. Not, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he really owned that left side for them. Second goalkeeper, that was on your list.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't leave your adequate backup.
We had Neto, who was cup tired, and he was going back to Bournemouth. So
you just needed another goal.
Yeah.
But that was above a right centre-back, right-back, despite the fact that you have... Is this because you were worried about the leaving of a...
It's not necessarily. It's not like impact on the team. It's literally just like if we didn't get a second goalkeeper, there's a body we don't have. The prospect centre-back, right-back, there's a quality conversation here, but we have bodies. You could go, okay, Timber and White, and if Tomiyasu's fit, and you could do a lot of if.
Tomiyasu being fit would change your... I'm not joking. I think Tomiyasu's he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
think
literally play anywhere. But
I agree.
He's just never fit. And I think Mosquera is his replacement.
Agreed.
But the goalkeeper, it's one of those things that people say, was it so high? Well, if we don't do it, we just don't have a second goalkeeper. So,
Okay. And that's fair. Overlapping a left-back, full-back. Does that not... Is Calafiori?
No.
He's underlapping.
More, yeah.
And you want one that overlaps.
Well, the weird thing is
Could you not just tell him to try a different route?
I don't really understand it because because he has the running power, if you want to call it that, but we just don't use him that way. So I don't understand it.
He is very good when he comes inside, though. He's very, very good at that. And then creative midfielder, which we kind of addressed.
Yeah.
I can't see a fault in that. I think our list is a very good list.
And by the way, we're on for all of those. So obviously they've watched my videos
because you covered yourself.
I think the club know. Like, come on, they know. They have access to way deeper data than we do, and access to.
Is that not the issue? Is that not a bit of the thing that actually we know Arsenal are very competent. We know what you're doing is on track. The frustration is it feels almost a little bit existential, the issues that you've had, despite them being very literal issues in red cards and injuries. It is feeling a little bit... last season weirdly felt out of your control. And I'm not saying that as a dig to Arsenal, but it began to, that's how the narrative and the story that started to get told.
Yeah.
And I think that, I remember at the start of that, like, conspiracy time, kind of flagging, be careful kind of what you speak into existence, because you begin to believe that things that are out of your control remain out of your control. I'm not saying that was the defining factor.
No.
But I do have to admit, there's a worry for me that if it begins to go down that route again, the inevitability of where it goes then with Arteta and the unsure element around that, the division that causes, it's a very pressurized environment you're creating for yourselves, especially if you then add a signing into that where it's like, you're the completion piece here. You know, we're all ready, and he's getting his legs back.
Yeah,
that's quite a lot of pressure. I don't mean that in a bad way, where it's like a lot of pressure, isn't it? That's what you meant to do the AI thing. Then.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can do the AI thing.
Yeah.
I hear that. Something Jamie Carragher actually said that I agree with is it feels
leave the game before.
Is that and what did he say? He said it feels like Arsenal are always one game away from a crisis.
Right.
And it's like, yeah.
But
it feels that way. But again, it feels that way within a fan base. Does that mean that the actual players feel it and it really affects? Because I feel like we put so much narrative on football that just doesn't have any. This is, I mean, to go back to your point kind of about the red cards and stuff, I had a real problem with, and I honestly got absolutely killed for it because I was just like, we're being victims here a little bit. Look, we've had some bad calls. At the time, I thought the kicking the ball away thing, people say we're punished the worst for it. We were because our players were on yellows. Other players did get yellows, but you're splitting hairs.
That was also, I remember reading an article end of the season where it was kind of a summary of the reds that you got and those issues. And it felt like as if every week that you got a red was basically an experimental week where the referees were going, this week,
we'll try this.
If that happens,
the Trossard one is the Trossard and the red.
That's still a travesty.
Are crazy to me.
I think all the red cards you got were. There was one where it was maybe a bit. It felt reckless. Was that the no?
But I think with that, like, I think because of where it was in the season, because of what I thought was going to happen, I was a bit just like, just leave it. I would now go back and probably be angry about those decisions because they didn't continue. But the thing I would take from it is, and people weren't like this, is please don't be a victim. And we do, because of where we are as a group, it might get to a place where we go game week 1, we lose. That's it. Guys, we've got to try and.
I think you've got to
try and get through it.
And that leads me back to the other side of the mentality that I thought I wanted to indulge a bit more was and all of that. And I thought that was like the edge that I think you'd missed.
Yeah.
And I guess the problem would be you did it. That showed to me 2 things. First of all, you got the edge, which is like, we really don't like you and we're going to get in your face, which I want my team to be like that.
Yeah.
We're not going to like you anyway. You might as well.
Yeah. Lean into
especially as a lot of it's performative. Then the other side of it was, well, now you really have to win. Because if you do that and then you don't win, can you continue to do that?
Yep.
Weirdly also, seasons, people cut the narrative off at either end of the season and they don't tend to let you go. So say you win next season and it's with an edge and all those things. How many people will go back to that Lamars Lewis Skelly moment and go, but they've always had that, or they've had that for ages now.
No,
or how many of them go, it was this season when it really...
But that's why I think one of the many reasons why signings are seen as so pivotal.
Sure.
Because it's such an obvious... If Arsenal suddenly get their creative spark back in everyone's minds and we've signed Eze, it'll be because of Eze for many people. But actually, was it not always the plan to do something different from the start of 24-25, but we had all those injuries? Do you know what I mean? So you just don't know.
So you're starting 11 next year.
God.
You're going to have Raya in goal, but Kepa just to raise the levels.
He'll
be nearby whispering, I'm
and he's going to check in with you every time he writes a social media post, just to make sure you're okay with
All I'm saying is it's weird copy, all right? I just think the video, I'll be honest, it slightly over-egged the pie. It did. Look, right? I can't bring up Instagram. Do you have Instagram on your phone?
Yeah.
Right. Please bring up Instagram and show me.
Why can't you bring up Instagram?
I block it during the day.
You see.
Just so it doesn't fully
What
impact
don't
on my life.
what don't you like about it?
Right. Where is it? Where is it?
All the Chloe Kelly stuff.
No, the Chloe Kelly stuff's obviously great. The interview.
That
There's
one?
a black and white.
No, it's pinned one.
Is it?
Maybe. No, that.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It might be that. That. He's a second goalkeeper, mate.
Why does this annoy you so much?
He's a second goalkeeper. What? Oh, sorry. Mate. That is a bit mental. It's as if you had this ready for another signing as a creative, and then
he's the world's most expensive goalkeeper still.
technically,
He
yes.
He deserves.
Oh, are you doing the
fanfare?
Are you doing the Ibrahimovic cumulative transfer thing?
Isn't that Lukaku?
Yeah.
Lukaku's got like a crazy cumulative. Listen,
I'll be honest. I love the video,
yeah.
but that's what annoyed me about it. I don't think that video should be for Kepa.
Do you think if I was doing this for Mamardashvili, you'd be maybe pushing back a little bit?
So the reason I can push back is first of all, I got a media degree. Secondly, we
I've got a YouTube channel.
we won the Premier League title last year, and to an extent, you get carte blanche to do what you want when you won the title.
So you're annoyed.
Although what you could then do is come back with a reverse Uno of going arrogance.
Yeah.
Think how arrogant you have to be to announce your second choice goalkeeper like that. I just don't think Mamardashvili, by the way, is not even on the website right now. So I have a suspicion that Mamardashvili is not even going to be in Liverpool's team next year. But let's see. I just think that's a bit much, and I also think because you've had second goalkeeper issues before, don't play it. Like don't Ramsdale Raya.
I don't think anyone thinks the social media announcement of Kepa Arrizabalaga is any indication of his squad usage next season.
Well, then why are you spending so much money on it?
It's a video in a room. They're probably all going to be announced like that.
It was a really well done video.
They'll do normal.
Whoever's in Arsenal's media department, you deserve not a raise, but just a
Our-
small pay packet.
Our media department are great.
Just not the copywriters.
Just not the copywriters.
But
and Lawrence doesn't like it.
I'm just saying, all right? I think that puts pressure on Kepa.
Okay.
There's undue.
Here's a question. Arsenal get in touch with you tomorrow
Yeah.
and say, will you run our media for us? Would you do it?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Even as a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, that's like saying, I mean, okay, if the Conservative Party got in contact, it's a little far. But say that there is,
Say Reform UK.
say Reform UK got in touch. Now, just because some of my views cross over with theirs doesn't mean that I should, but it's the same as if I do a piece for like, West Ham or something.
But for Arsenal, I think it's different. Okay, Man United.
If anything, it's more so then.
Everton.
No, more so.
You would do it more.
So, the main thing is, if Liverpool were, say, if we were in the dark years,
Yeah.
maybe then I'm feeling different about it.
Right.
But in good years, when our team are good anyway,
You don't care.
I can get on set and go, morning lads, Premier League title winners here. Guard of honour, please. No, but I don't feel as bad about it.
Okay, I'll buy that.
And I also think, Arsenal, top of the tree.
Yeah.
You're Premier. You're based in London. You've got some great fans.
Good
premiums,
videos.
good videos. It's a really good quality video. You know what I'm saying when I say this.
I do know what you're saying.
Deliberately obtuse.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
But you're really sort of drilling down on this. He said this off camera, but to be clear, he came at the first thing he said to me this
wasn't
morning.
the first thing.
Second
It was the second thing after the other thing that is contentious between us. All right? And the other thing that's contentious between us is a whole other thing. Because I think halfway through this season, we should out you about that.
I'll be okay to do. Because we can know either way. I've always said it when I'm wrong.
Have you said it?
I've not said
anywhere in public?
I'm not saying it on camera. No chance.
Not yet.
Absolutely not. But I'll say it once more things have happened.
Make AI make you say it.
Because you know what I said.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you don't.
I do. I know what you said, and I didn't mishear it. And that's why it upset me. Anyway.
We'll say it.
There's your tension. All right? So, in terms of ranking your people who are going to win the league, how do they rank for you right now?
As we sit here today with our transfer business done and your transfer business done.
Do it as Fabrizio. Done.
Here we go, guys.
Yeah.
Liverpool going to be one. Liverpool first. Arsenal second. City third.
I've got that in my head.
Chelsea fourth. I just think City are going to have some teething issues next year.
I also think City are going to be very exciting. We're going to get a lot of videos on how he's changed the tactics. I think there is vulnerability that can be picked at.
100%. Rodri is still having issues and so on. I just think, like, I think they'll win again for sure. But I think you guys, as we sit here today, if you sign Isak, it doesn't matter what we do, you've won. Sorry to be.
Oh, that's good pressure. That's a good reverse Uno. That's very good.
But
I think you should.
I also think if we sign Eze, Sesko, and Rodrigo, I will say on camera.
You put £1,000.
I'll put. I'm not saying that on camera. Okay. I will put. I would be very strong on us winning the league if we sign Eze, Sesko, and Rodrigo. Yeah.
You know, if you sign 2 of those players, I would put good money on you winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
Because I think Eze will shine in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I just think you get that striker,
Rodrigo,
boom,
clutch.
you're away.
Yeah, but it's the strike is useful, but it's not everything. The left hand side is a bigger issue.
Against PSG, if you have a striker, you win that game. It's that simple.
Agree, but also if we fix our left hand side, we win that game.
You did have an attack down the left-hand side, and the guy on the other end of that attack put the ball over the bar because there was no one else there to do it.
If that's one, okay, that was one incident.
Sure.
In the course of Arsenal's season,
It's outcome-based judgment, sure.
you know me so well.
No, it's true though.
Yeah, I mean, Saka missed a sitter.
But
Also,
no, so that's not a criticism of Saka. It's criticism of the infrastructure around him that means that he's the only one who's in that
But
position.
he's normally the guy who puts it in the net. So it's the left. It's the left
But
hand
I
side.
just want to be clear, it's not a criticism of him. It's more of a criticism of why isn't there another system where you can force the ball in through Sesko just going.
So you hate England's number 7 after everything that's happened?
After the penalty issue, I was very angry.
I cried.
What?
Yeah,
For him, not for
him.
England.
Yeah, I cried.
Crying for England.
And not to do that virtuously because I knew what was going to come. I knew what was about to happen. I'm such a good guy.
You are such a kind guy.
No, but I was gutted.
For him.
Truly. Yeah.
If you met him, do you think you'd cry?
Yeah, oh yeah. There's very few people I'd be starstruck with.
Go on.
I was a little bit starstruck with you when I first met you, actually.
We had a good conversation when we first met, so you kept it together.
Yeah. I shouldn't have told you that.
Yeah. I was a bit starstruck with you, but in a different way, whereas like, oh my God, it's the guy from my phone.
It's the guy from the phone.
But I'd had the highest of highs at that point. And so I was on the come down by then. I was very much on the other side of my good part of my career. And I was trying to rebuild what was a battered and tattered reputation. So when someone comes over and goes, I just say I love the videos, you go, who's that guy? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're the guy with the cassette tape.
Do you really feel
branding.
that?
Yeah, it haunts me.
Did you feel like you've peaked?
No, I think other people think I've peaked, and it's very hard to break that as a perception.
I'm with
that
you.
once you've had a very good high, other people will go, well, you've already done the thing.
Yeah.
So you don't get another bite of the cherry, as they say.
But what's
unless
weird,
you pick a blueberry.
That's not the phrase. What's funny though is the things that I think that separate you from football, YouTube, whatever, are the things that are transferable into so many other fields, which is why I think you're just gonna fucking.
I'm Owen Hargreaves.
You got similar hair as well.
Didn't
he have similar hair?
Yeah, he had that sort of like floppy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and get it cut soon, I think.
Like I've never seen anyone edit and understand cameras and that side of things in the way you can.
Genuine question, because it's how many people have you been around who do use cameras and do edit?
Not loads, but enough. But it's still there.
It's like
You haven't peaked.
maybe not yet.
You haven't peaked. No chance.
We'll clip this up.
Yeah.
Can I post that?
Yeah.
You haven't peaked? No. Do you know the only other thing I'd say is, I think you might have with that moment in the quiz.
Yeah, that might have been my big moment.
I'm really bad at dealing with compliments, so I'll always attack that.
Yeah, just attack me.
Yeah.
I've peaked.
I personally,
Getting 5 out of 12 on an overlap quiz is.
genuine question,
Yeah,
if you won the league, do you think that would be the peak for your YouTube channel? Or do you think it's like, do you think there's another season after that? What's the peak of what you could do with this?
With what I'm currently doing?
Yeah, with TDK and the Alex Moneypenny brand.
I think I'll be covering Arsenal for as long as I can. So I don't know.
Do you think you'd ever break it off and do like food?
Do you want to?
I would actually love, one thing I've really got in my mind
Go on.
is that we can visit as separate videos every match day restaurant around the Arsenal area.
Yeah.
And we can go, Highbury's full of great food.
Yeah, we could do that.
and we can go and get a fry up. Do you eat bacon and pork?
I do, yeah.
Great, because I can't. So
You can give it to me.
I can go, what do you think of that?
Yeah.
And I can have the halal stuff.
Yeah.
And then, boom, we meet in the middle. The Jew and the Muslim.
I'm not Jewish, just to be clear.
And I'm not Muslim.
Okay.
And we,
Yeah.
and we can,
It's our little food channel.
yeah.
Yep.
Or just, it can be a football-based thing, so we can discuss
Well,
football.
you know, I have my my
Aspiration.
personal channel at the minute.
Yeah. How many people have... I've had that.
Had what?
You missed a call or a text.
No, it was
Really
serious.
serious.
Serious. But I've got my personal channel now, so we can maybe do some stuff there.
See? And then we can break away.
Do you know what I mean?
Do a bit of
We
food,
can start the lick off.
bit of culture. Yeah,
that was quite fun.
that was a suggestion I've had before, and that's why I left. Ultimately,
Okay.
no,
That's what happened.
no, that's not what happened. But yeah, we could do that. We could go. What I want to do is ice cream. I want to do fry up. I want to do. There's really good pizza.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
very
pizza,
good. There's good Thai food. I think
Yeah.
on the road.
There's a Korean fried chicken near Highbury Islington, which
Now
is
you get into the spirit of it.
unbelievable.
There is also a second-hand furniture store, which I've got to say is second to none. And I think we should just go in there and try the chairs,
Should be called Second to None as well. That would be a
Yes.
good name for it.
especially in the Highbury area.
What's into that?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for watching
Thanks
the
for
video. If
watching.
you haven't already subscribed
Subscribe
to what
to
is a
the
fantastic
fantastic
channel,
YouTube channel,
then go and take a look at it. He really is a
a
second-class human
intelligent
being. This has been great. Thanks for coming on.
Love you.
What's the Whoop saying?
Sleep more.
Same with everyone, isn't it? And actually, if you meet anyone whose Whoop says they've got like very good life,
Crazy sleep debt. All gone.
yeah, that,
Enjoy yourself.
yeah,
Enjoy your life.
yeah, exactly.
This should tell you how much your
Did you buy that?
no.
You've been gifted that. You should have been if you haven't.
Not gift. Oh, my friend gave it to me,
Right, okay.
but it wasn't Whoop. Unless they want to sponsor me.
Which they probably could.
Maybe.
Especially on your fitness journey. How's that going?
I'm massive. Look at me.
We could do that.
We could do a little. Actually, that would be a sick series.
What, like a workout thing?
Yeah.
Two topless guys working out.
Actually, that does not help the allegations. End this video.
Ooh, feel the burn. Sand.
Oh